Sometimes we don't know the same, but that don't make a difference. Hey, hey, hey. We are, but that make a difference.
Hello, hello,
Hey,
hello, good
hey.
people. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Table for Us. Today, oops, hold on. Turn that off. I have my fan on, y'all. All right, so hello, welcome back to Table for Us. I'm your host, Nicolette. Today we have guest Nakia joining us, and we're going to talk about the differences between a nonprofit and an LLC. But before we dive into that, I just want to say blessings to each of you that are tuning in. And I want to make sure that at all time, I always give glory to God because without Him, nothing that we do would be possible.
Amen.
So, Nakia, hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Doing good, doing good, doing good. It's always good to link up with my sister here and talk about
Absolutely.
a few things. So, I'm actually going to cover LLC because I have some experience and history with LLC, setting them up, the benefits to them, and so forth. You actually started a nonprofit. So, tell us a little bit about your nonprofit that you had started.
Okay, so I get a little emotional because I had to close it due to health reasons and issues with Social Security. But in 2021, my grandfather passed. I was working as a social worker with in-home supportive services, and looking at my grandfather's the latter part of his life, and then my clients, and I saw some things that were different and some things that were similar.
Mm,
And one of the things was my grandfather had to come out of pocket for certain things. He had a electric scooter, so he had to pay a nice portion of that himself.
mm.
And then when it would break down, they would, if it hadn't been 5 years, Medicare won't even start a replacement. He would have to pay the whole thing by himself.
Oh, wow.
If my grandfather was interesting, he popped his wheel on his scooter. Who knows what he was doing, but they sent the replacement wheel, but nobody to fix it for him. And what I find interesting was that you just sent that over for a 95-year-old to change his own tire. And switching to my clients who have dealt with some of the same things, I had one client who had a wheelchair, and her wheelchair had no rubber anymore. It was just because she was in it all the time, she could not walk. And
Mm,
because she hadn't had it for 5 years, Medicare would not replace it.
that's crazy.
And her and her daughter, they did not have the money to pay for that wheelchair to be replaced. And then, so seeing that and seeing people struggling with adult diapers, because if you only have Medicare alone, they will not pay for adult diapers at all.
Wow.
Medicare will, but
Yeah.
Medicare will not. And so I was just so heartbroken by it. And as a social working people trying to figure out, am I going to get these diapers? Am I going to buy toilet paper? Am I
Mhm.
going to, it's heartbreaking. And you want to help them and buy stuff, but you can't. Because if you do that, as much as they say they're not going to say nothing, they're going to say something because they're happy. And then you can get in trouble at work. So my hands were tied. So I figured, okay, after my grandpa died, I'm like, I want to do something to help the people, but also do something to honor him. There was a girl I went to high school with that lives at the time she was living in North Carolina, and she had went through this program to get for no, to become to get her non have her nonprofit, and so she told me about it. She told me how she got a grant to be able to do it because it wasn't free, and also these were Christian people who were doing this as well. And I signed up. I got a partial grant for it. And then in January, my grandpa died October 2021. In January of 2022, I was in the class.
Okay.
I had already came up with a name, which was Joseph's Heart, because my grandpa name was Joseph, and I was his heart, so the heart of Joseph. So I started that, and we focused on providing durable medical equipment to seniors, individuals with disabilities, and seniors, individuals with disabilities. Sorry, I'm missing something. Gosh, I can't think. Sometimes I have lupus brain fog, so you got to forgive me. It'll come to me at some point. But the main people were the seniors and the people with disabilities. Oh, it was no other ones. There were those two. We also
Oh,
help families too. My goal was to only target 5 and under. However, we ended up helping people who had children that were over 5, but we gave diapers, wipes, car seats, cribs, walkers. all type of things, clothes. Initially, clothes was not going to be in it, but we started doing that, and it would for the people in the Bay Area, it became a huge blessing to them who did not have money for these things. But that's what made me start the nonprofit. I have a heart to help people. I love helping people. I loved helping my grandfather. I loved helping the seniors and the people that we helped. I just love doing it. Actually, it feels like a huge void right now, but I love doing that. But that's what it was. I did not do any of my paperwork to become to for my nonprofit to be a 501(c)(3). The nonprofit that I was under is called Nonprofit Development Program. They
Um,
handled everything with the
okay.
state of they like I said, they were based out of I think they were based out of Virginia, but they handled the paperwork for California. They
Okay.
handled the paperwork for the IRS. They
Okay.
did all of it. I had weekly coaching with the person who was running it. And then even after I graduated, which was in April, which is actually a couple of days before my grandpa's birthday, after I was done, I had weekly coaching sessions to help me through it.
Mm.
I'm going to be quite honest. I prayed and asked God for wisdom to run that organization, and He gave it to me.
You look, you got to talk to God in anything that
Yes,
you do, just because you want to have discernment of the way to go, if this is right way, if this is the wrong way, and how you want to
right.
do things. I think it's important to include God in every decision that you make. He already knows what it is we doing or what we thinking, but him for that guidance to know if this is something, if this is your assignment, I think is very important. Gosh, that just I'm trying to hold back the tears on that right now on why you started. I think that's amazing. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
for the
just
program, how long was the program? Because I think a
four
lot of
months.
people out there would love to, because there's people out there that want to start nonprofits and they don't know where to start at.
I don't know if I know they were going to stop. I don't know if they did
But
or
there's
not. But it was a 4-month program from January to April. April, we were having graduation, but it was every single weekend. But don't think because you only had to log on for a couple of hours on Saturday that you didn't have work to do during the week because you did. And it was a ton of information crammed in these 4 months. And you still have questions after it's over, but you have the gist of it. Some people don't come out with their, being having their 501(c)(3) sometimes because and it's usually not the people who are doing it, it's usually because of the person who's starting the nonprofit. They're not getting their stuff together because you have to have your board members in place already. You have to have at least 3 in place when you're getting everything filed and they want to know the names and all of that. You have to have your bylaws. They handled all the bylaws. They just had a certain bylaws that was for nonprofit that they give to everybody. Your notice of articles, all of that stuff they took care of. And and when it was done, they emailed it to you, things like that. I had 5, it was 5 of us on the board. I was president. My husband was vice president. At the time, my best friend, who I had known since I was 11, she was treasurer. And
Mhm.
then a really good friend of mine was my prayer partner. She was secretary. And then my brother-in-law was on the board for a little bit, and he didn't like that he couldn't attend a lot of the things that we were doing because he was in Southern California. So he stepped down, and then I was trying to figure out who replaced him. Oh, one of the ministers at my church replaced him.
Okay.
So you have many hats in order for a nonprofit to be successful. There are so many things. You're going to be really busy. It's going to be a lot that have to happen. There's admin. There's in addition to your treasurer, you got to everything you're paying for. You got all these receipts. You got to scan these receipts, upload them. You got to do all of this stuff. It's a lot when you're preparing for events because we had events. We were our first thing was at Juneteenth. That was
Mhm.
our launch was at Juneteenth, and then we had a backpack drive, and then we had a Christmas drive. Now, mind you, this Christmas drive, we didn't just get toys and just gave it to them. We sent out a list to the parents, let
Mhm.
them tell us what the children wanted. And then we also make sure we're not promising that we're getting everything, but we're going to do our best to get what we can. We
Mhm.
got them, we gave it to the parents to wrap and say it was from them
Okay.
and which was a really big help to a lot of families. Now, God, with discernment, God will let you know who's taking advantage of you because sometimes they will call every time their child needs diapers, every time
Mm.
their child needs wipes. and you know what they're making because they tell you. And then also you know how much you gave them. I gave one girl a not it was a box from Costco of wipes. I gave her the whole box. That's 900 wipes.
And
She
she
called
asked
me in less than a month saying she needed more wipes. Exactly. So I had to then put a cap on things. You can only request for diapers and wipes every 2 months unless it is a dire need and you have to tell me what's going on for me to
Mhm.
do it. So that was the interesting part. Also we went to things like we have booths at the Alzheimer's. It was the Black National Alzheimer's something. I can't think
Oh,
of the name,
nice.
but it's in Berkeley. It's in Berkeley every year. So we had a booth there and this was so funny. I have this baby doll that helps. You can show parents with the doll how to change diapers and things like that, but also people can use it if you have a mother or father with dementia. And once the dementia gets so bad, if they have children, they start looking for their child, not as an adult, but sometimes as an infant or a child. So this baby looked lifelike. I should have brought it in here so you could see it, but it's in the
Oh,
office. But I had it sitting up at this Alzheimer thing. And I don't know how many people stopped because they thought it was a real baby. Because they were gonna ask me, "Why is this baby in this box?" And so it was really good to show people what they can get their parents when they get to that point because it becomes a lot of back and forth. We also taught child development. We also educated on Medicare and Medi-Cal, the things that you can how to navigate the system. We I used to help people and walk them through when their parents got or grandparent, whoever the caregiver was or whoever was contacting us, how to deal with people with dementia because we're so used to saying they'll say something, we're so used to correcting them it doesn't work for somebody with dementia. They'll just become combative. And
mm,
so just coaching them on what to say, how to deal with it. Let's remember they can't control what's happening. Please remember, just relax and show them some grace. Because my grandfather had vascular dementia because of all the strokes. And
mm,
so we didn't see the confusion often unless he went in the hospital for too and he was in there for too long. But for the most part, he was still with it. The problem we had, he was having hallucinations and he always wanted to go to the hospital because he said that this real big bug crawled down from the ceiling and put poison in his foot.
oh no.
So and this is before I started the nonprofit. So we were constantly taking him to the hospital, just the emergency room. Because if you take him, he's quiet for about a month and then it
Okay.
starts up again. So we were rotating who was taking him. But my aunt started yelling at him. Ain't nothing. I said, just take him. Why are you going to go back and forth with him? Just take him. He'll quiet
Because
after that.
in his mind is real.
Yeah, so exactly. It's in his mind, there are bugs in his room. He
Right.
had bug spray in his room. I had to tell my aunt, please take it, dump it when he's in the shower and just fill it with water because he's spraying his bed thinking that there's bugs on his bed and he could get sick. He started wearing a bonnet because he was
Oh,
protecting his head from the bugs. And that's what people deal with, and you sometimes you laugh to keep from crying, but
mhm.
it's real to them. It's
Yeah.
very real to them, and also educating on how to notice the signs when it's the early onset of dementia, and also letting people know dementia and Alzheimer's are the same. Alzheimer is under the umbrella of dementia. And then
Mhm.
you have all these different types of dementia, with Alzheimer being one of them. My aunt had an argument with me about when I said my grandpa had dementia, she corrected me and said it was Alzheimer's. And I was trying to explain it to her, and she told me I didn't know what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So so having that nonprofit and doing that was such a joy for me. Was I paid? Absolutely not. I got grants, but those grants were to be able to have funding to keep taking care of the needs of the clients and
So
trying
is
to
there like a because with nonprofits, is there an ability to have a stipend for board members or how does that work?
not for board members, it's more so for if you have a staff. So you
Staff.
can file for a grant that will pay the salary of your employees. Say for instance, let's think of what do you call it? The Girl
Administrative.
Scouts of America,
Uh-huh.
they're nonprofit. And so you know that there are people running it, so they have to be paid. So I'm sure that they're getting grants to take care of that. Children's Hospital is another one. You got to pay the employees. So where's the money coming from? It's coming from a grant. Granted, that grant is large, is
Mhm.
huge. When you're a startup nonprofit, you have to prove that like you have to show that you're functioning and you're doing things before you
Before
can
you
get those really big grants. Our grants came from Walmart.
okay.
I think the biggest one we got was 5,000, and then we got like a 1,500, we got a 500, we got a gift card from Target for 150, 2 years in a row. And that was that one, no, 150. Then the next one was 400 because I had a mother who was expecting that and didn't have anything. So we used that to get all the stuff that she needed. We partnered with some other nonprofits here in Vallejo also, and they would come to us when their clients needed things. And if we had it, we gave it. If we didn't, we just told them we didn't have it and we didn't have the funding to buy it. I
Mhm.
did come out of me and Steve came out of our pockets a lot when we didn't have grants to make sure people had what they need because we didn't want to turn people away. I'm not going to say that's the smartest thing to do, but we did do it. We weren't going long enough for us to get the large grants, and you have to have a grant writer because you don't want your grant to be rejected. And grant writers know how to write grants to get it approved. The problem is we were just too new.
Mhm.
Even though our website I had a website, the nonprofit development program helped me with my website. I paid for that separately, and they uploaded. I would send them pictures from events. They would upload them. Did all of that stuff. I just didn't have it. We didn't have the money to pay a grant writer, and then again, we were pretty new. If I could have kept going, and aside if I didn't have these health conditions, we probably would have been able to finally start getting big grants where
Mhm.
I could have got a staff in to help because
Mhm.
I was the staff. I love my board members, but they did not help a lot. My
Yeah.
treasurer helped for a little bit, but she at some point stepped down, which means I took over doing all the accounting stuff, getting the receipts uploaded until my sister stepped in and helped. She didn't want to be a board member. She didn't want to be a treasurer. She just stepped in. She wanted to step in, just help me take something off my plate. And she
Yeah.
was somebody I trusted with having access to that software. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of work and it wore on me too. I was burnt by 6 months. 6 months in, I was already burnt out, completely burnt out.
'Cause you were wearing multiple
Everything.
hats. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a cell phone, so I was the one answering the calls, I was returning the calls, I was writing letters that needed to go out, I was going to the bank, to the post office, getting stamps. Me and Steve were the only ones able to make transactions at the bank. So it was a lot, and I was doing that while working a full-time job. And then also wanted to help my clients, and this is what was crazy. The county would not let me. They told me it was a conflict of interest to give them free stuff.
Because you worked for the county, is that why they were
I worked for the county. I had clients
interested?
that needed like diapers and stuff, things that I could supply. And they were like, it's conflict of interest. Now, did I not help people? I still help. It was like there was a lady we gave a wheelchair to. She was my client, but that was before I knew I couldn't help people. I knew that she was struggling and that Medicare would not give her a seated walker. She
Mhm.
was in her 90s, I think, 80s or 90s, and she liked to go to things with her family, but they would be walking and she needed to be pushed in a wheelchair, but they wouldn't give her Medicare would not approve it. So
That is so
we bought her a wheelchair. And then I had a guy who got diapers, but he was a pretty tall guy and a little larger, and the diapers
mhm.
didn't fit. So he was laying in his bed with nothing on.
No.
And you mean to tell me I can't help him? Oh, so I just told them, I said, you can. He was getting ready to leave that county and move to Sacramento. So I'm like, it don't even matter at this point anyway. I took him, I want to say about anywhere between 8 and 10 packs of diapers because I could not see him laying there with no diapers on. And then I
Yeah.
provided the resources because he did have Medi-Cal. Contact
Okay.
this number while you have diapers and get it rolling where Medi-Cal will pay for him. So he won't have another. I was talking to his daughter, he won't have another lapse like this again.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, so the
I
main
mean, I
reason why I
know
got into it, I couldn't help those people.
yeah. And I know with the everything with the health and so forth, and working a full time and you trying to basically wear all these hats with a nonprofit, eventually, as you stated, you had to shut it down basically. But is it something that if you had the actual involved people, would want to start back up?
So the goal is to not make it a 501(c)(3) again because then I would have to refile all the papers because I shut it completely down. Nobody
Oh,
wanted to take it over. So with nonprofits, it's not yours. It's an entity that stands alone. So anybody can come in and be president of the board. Anybody can come in. I was executive director. Anybody can come in and take that position if I needed to come step down or whatever, because it
mhm,
stands alone. But me, I had the right to close it if I needed to. But nobody wanted to step up and take it over. I wanted the church to take it over. But however, when I realized the church, the heads was my husband and the other minister, and they weren't doing anything when I had it, you're not going to do anything if I give it to the church.
mhm,
So my goal is to make it like Joseph's Heart through Faith Fellowship, what I'm able to, and then bring diapers and wipes and stuff there to the church and
mhm,
help the be able to still help the parents. But if it's not directly to those parents, help through the nonprofits that we were connected to so that
mhm.
those parents can get what they need.
Okay, okay.
Seniors is a little difficult because I was meeting seniors through word of mouth. I would tell one of my clients about what I had going on, and then they would tell a friend, and then that friend would call me. And
Okay.
then that's how I met one of my seniors who was a continual, she would always contact us. She was in Berkeley. And Nikki, I need more diapers. And either I would drop them off to her or Steve would drop them off to her. And
Okay.
I think she was with us for over a year. And some of our
Okay.
parents were with us that long too. They were bummed when we closed up because we were a really big help to them. And it's interesting, one of my clients still, she calls me on my personal phone just to check on me and see how I'm doing.
Aw,
Yeah.
additional connections and stuff outside.
Yeah. And one of my clients who was, she wasn't undocumented, but whatever the next level is after that, but she was trying to become a resident. I think that's what it is. I get
Oh, the
confused with some of them.
registered, not non-registered alien or something, I think is what they have them listed as, where they get a ITIN, which is it's like a Social Security number, but
Hmm.
because you're not a US citizen, you can't
Hmm.
have a Social Security number. They give you that I-10 number to whereas you're documented, you're able to work here, you pay
Right.
taxes with that,
Right.
you're not a legal citizen.
So then she went through the next process because I was trying to help her find housing.
Mhm,
Mind you, this was not under Joseph's Heart umbrella. But my heart said, I just felt something in my spirit say, help this woman. So I was
mhm,
trying to find affordable housing for her, anything. She was like, I can't get Section 8 because I'm not a citizen or because she's not some. She had to get to this next level. And she was renting a room, so to speak. It was in the garage of some woman, and she had three children, and they were all in there. And I ran into her in Costco a couple of months ago. And she said, I've been trying to reach you. Your phone is on. I said, yeah. I said, remember I shut it down? She said, you know what? I had already moved, so I didn't get the letter saying that
mhm.
you closed it down. She said, I have my own place now.
Oh,
She said, I got
yeah.
approved for Section 8 because she went to that next process and I have my own place. But I had given her all the resources for when she get to that level. This is what you do. This is who you call. And she's right. Actually, she's not, she's maybe about 10 minutes away from me. And so I
Really?
was so happy. I was almost in tears in Costco because it bothered me so much to see this woman in this small bit of place. But she also blessed us too, because anytime our kids got too big for their clothes, she washed them, called me and said, I have clothes and would donate. She donated a brand new stroller and car seat that she was not using. She donated to us. We were able to bless somebody else with it. So it was, you end up, they're being there to bless people, but then you find that they're there to bless you too.
Blessings come back,
Yeah.
yeah.
If anyone wants to, I can definitely look into seeing if that they're still doing the nonprofit development, but you can always go online too to see exactly what's needed, and then it'll walk you through. It's just a it's a lot. I'm happy I didn't have to do the paperwork, but I can tell them
It's
how
a
to
lot with the
go about it.
paperwork, and then on top of it, it sounds like in addition to having your board members, you also need to have a grant writer, and would you say, like, some type of administrative assistant to
Yep.
handle all of the paperwork after
Y-
that? And what else
Yes.
would you say that you should think about having before even starting a nonprofit?
Depending on the type of nonprofit you have, for us, we had a lot of inventory, a ton of inventory where I had to do spreadsheets to keep up with what I had so that when people call, I can look and see, yes, I have this and have that. Granted, I wish I would have, girl, my children were my assistants. So go figure. Janelle, please check this. No, I'm tired. So I was doing it and looking and seeing what we had. So my garage became where all my stuff was held, which made my garage look it was just way too much stuff, along with my own stuff. So we ended up getting a storage unit. We didn't get a very big one. We didn't need a huge one because I will wait until I got rid of get some stuff out and then replenish
Then
and get
do
more
more.
stuff. So you have to have some type of area because some places, like in our case, because we gave clothes out and diapers out, I can't remember the name, but we went through a nonprofit to get a lot of our clothes for the kids at a cheaper price. I would get like 20 articles of clothes for $50,
Mhm.
brand new clothes and things like that. And these people partner with Walmart and Target and stuff like that. But to get the bigger bulk items, you have to have a location for them to deliver it. They're not, we have a PO box, but with the IRS, it can't say PO box. My box was through iPostal, which was inside of Staples. So I
Okay.
was able to get stuff delivered there. But if I wanted huge, multiple bulk items, I couldn't get it because I didn't have a storefront.
Okay.
Because they're only going to deliver, and they tell you how big it needs to be for them to deliver it.
Ah.
So you want to make sure you have the space if you're doing stuff like you're going to be giving things away. Remember, nonprofit, you're supplying a need. You don't want to make people pay for this. For us, we made sure nobody paid for anything.
Mhm.
Everything was free. But some people do fundraisers to
Mm.
get money going so you can have money coming in. Along with the grants for Walmart, you don't need a grant writer. You can go in there and knock that out in 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then you got to wait. That's the hard part. It may be 6 months, 3 to 6 months before they tell you if you're approved or not. But I
So if
found a
you're
little.
and you're planning an event or something for a giveaway, y'all want to do it at least 6 months before this said event to see if you actually get approved. Is that what?
Yeah, and we also and because I came to you at one point, you asked for donations from people. It was easier to get donated items than to get cash donations. And because you're mainly talking to your circle of people,
Mhm.
you putting it on social media. That's one of the hardest those are things I got frustrated by. It's a backpack drive. We need pencils. We need this. We and if you don't want to buy, you can always donate it. They were able to
Mhm.
go on the website, scan the QR code, donate it to PayPal through PayPal. And we were certified. So you know that this money ain't coming in my pocket. But then you
Mhm.
have people who, if they don't like you or they mad at you, they won't help the cause because they have a problem with you. And that's something the Spirit
That's on
revealed to
both
me.
sides.
Yeah, which is ridiculous because you're trying to help. Come on now. You got people who in need. You got somebody who's trying to get their business going. Help out. Don't lie and say you don't have the money, and then we see you on vacations after vacation after vacation. Just say you don't want to. And then with my family, if they help once, they probably wouldn't help again. Or you got to wait another year before you ask them again. I had one
Mhm.
cousin who had a reoccurring donation every month for a year. My mother had a reoccurring donation every month for a year. My mom did $100 a month. My cousin did $50 a month. There were people who were willing to help. I asked my old pastor like 3 or 4 times and he never responded. He never responded. But we went to the church and would give stuff to their senior
Mm.
because God told me to do it. And I just kept doing it. I'm like,
That's unfortunate.
yeah, I just wish they would have said we can't do it because I
Yeah.
not only sent it to him as him to his house, but I also sent it to the church to try to get help, and it wouldn't help me. In the church that I'm at now, that my husband is pastor, and before he was pastor, the last pastor, I sent it, and he ignored it too.
And I just want to point out to the people out there, and I see this a lot with big businesses, and I'm going to get into LLCs and so forth, S corps and all that good stuff, but I feel just out of the kindness of your heart, this is something that you should want to do, right? But in addition to that, for you people who are out there and you're looking for a tax break, this is a write off for you to
Right.
donate. I just feel like you should be wanting to do it regardless, tax break or not. But just to let you guys know, this is a tax break
Mhm.
where you can claim this as a charitable donation and you get a write
Right.
off taxes for doing something
Mhm.
that you should want to do anyway. Um,
Absolutely.
so if you're someone who you have a profitable business like an LLC or S corp, and your business is profiting 100K or more, This would help you tremendously in when it comes to tax season to donate items. And it could be in cash form or it can be in actual items.
Mhm.
There's a lot of nonprofit out there who are looking for help because there's also a lot of grants that are out there. However,
Yes.
you don't always get approved for those grants. And as Nakia said, you need somebody who's actually able to be a grant writer to write the things that are necessary in order to put you at a higher chance of getting approved for that. And the more popular grants that I'm aware of, they do quarterly things where you apply on a quarterly basis, and there's probably a ton of other people that are applying as well. So sometimes you have to do your research and see what else is out there, or as Nakia said, talk to people that are in your inner circle. And sometimes you might have to let them know, hey, we're in need of this. This also is a tax write-off for you. Even if you're an individual, it's considered a tax write-off. You don't have to actually necessarily be a business
Right.
to donate. So you touched on what the nonprofit was about, what led you to start the nonprofit, a lot of different things that are behind the nonprofit as far as your board members and different positions that you need to have. In addition to that, there is a lot of paperwork, as Nakia said, that's
Yes.
involved with starting and getting a 501c. How long did you have the nonprofit going before you shut it down?
3 years. We shut down on year 3, right at the beginning of year 3.
Okay.
Um,
So what about like with taxes? Because with the 501c, it's pretty much considered a pass-through cost. So how did you guys handle tax time with the 501c?
so we still have to file taxes. If the organization brought in less than 50,000, you just do a 990 in postcard. You just go on the website and do it, and that's what we always filed.
Mhm.
It's not until you're over 50,000 where it gets a little bit more complicated with filing. So I did that piece too. I filed the taxes every year because even though my board members were always aware of what money we had, where the money was going. I sent them everything. They were included in everything. We used Google Docs, so I shared that because I had all my board members had their own emails. It was whatever their initial last name at josephsheartca.org was.
Okay.
So we had the whole Google, that whole thing, because I pay for that every year too, to make sure that's how we were communicating. Because if anybody needed to send out an email, I didn't want them to do it from their personal email. We also had a donation email, we had an info email, we had a contact email also, which I checked all those emails, because it was until my sister stepped in and she started checking those emails for me. It's Yeah, we went 3 years. Also, one of the things I forgot, you have to come up with you have to have your own logo. You wanna get that early on. They would tell us when to have this stuff, but you definitely wanna get once you come up with a name, start trying to create a logo. I created a logo, and then I went on Etsy and paid somebody to do it for me. I showed her what I wanted, and she
Mhm.
did it. She also did my business cards, and all I had to do was go get them printed out. I had multiple logos. We had different logos. I probably should have had my Joseph Hart shirt on, but we definitely had different logos. And I had one on Facebook. I had one on Instagram. I had one on the web. The our actual one that I really liked that I did at first. That was the one that was on the website. And
Okay.
so also when you're creating your website, and I wanted to put people on there that I knew. My sister, because we were handling we were wearing so many hats. We had the durable medical equipment, we had the children helping families. So I didn't want to just have it flooded with like what do you call them, commodes and walkers and wheelchairs. I wanted stuff with families too. So I got approval from my sister and her husband to let me put a picture of
Mhm.
her husband, and at the time they only had one child and their son, and they
Mhm.
were on the front of
Your
my
website.
website. And then I also had my kids on the cover of my website too. It was part of like it was rolling, and it
Mhm.
was the twins in a stroller and Janelle next to them. You definitely have to have approval, because if you want to put pictures of people you don't know on your website, you're going to pay for it. You're going to have to pay for it. And some of them give you so many days free,
Mhm.
but it takes so long to go through and see what you want, you're gonna end up paying for it. And then once you're done, you just cancel it. But they have, because you don't want any copyright issues or any issues of using other people. And they
Mhm.
like That's my picture. Now you got this big old issue going on. So if these pictures are on the site that you have to pay for, they've approved it. And then we also had brochures. I had brochures. We had put them out, and one of the girls found our brochure in the library. Mind you, I never put the brochures in the library, so I
Oh,
don't know how they got there, but they did, and she found us through a brochure in the library. Yeah, and you have to budget for that stuff. You got to budget for your flyers for your event.
mhm,
Gotta make sure the money is there when it's time to pay for that website. So it's and I pay at once a year, and because I went through the nonprofit, I got a deal. I only paid 200 something, 250 a year for my website.
okay, that's nice, okay.
Yeah, so it's a lot of small parts, and then there's big parts, but they all work together. They cannot work. You have to have them working together. If one thing drop, it messes the whole thing up.
Okay. Good to know, good to know. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, they go back and forth on whether they should start a nonprofit or if they should just do like a sole proprietor,
Mhm,
which a sole proprietorship is basically it you have a business, but
mhm.
everything is linked to your personal social security number.
Okay. Okay.
Whereas with the LLC, you can be a single owner,
Mhm.
right? LLC, or you can have multi-member LLCs, but you actually get an EIN, which is an employee identification
Right.
number. So you can separate your personal stuff from the business. So I think a lot of people go back and forth on what it is they want to do. And I think the main thing would be, what is your mission? What is it that you're
Right. Right.
trying to accomplish? Are you trying to just give, as Nakia said, where you're giving, either you're providing a service, whether it's like food drives or something like that, or you're providing items where you're wanting to give to families or to seniors, or you're providing a service. Rather,
Mhm.
in my case, I provide a service. So I am a tax and credit repair company where I provide tax preparation, tax advice, credit advice, and I also provide credit repair services. So I actually have a limited liability company.
Mm,
Is what I started, rather I should say.
mhm.
And one of my hopes under my LLC is to do community things as well. So you can
Okay.
do an LLC and still have things that you do in the community where you're giving things away, backpack drives and things of that sort under your business. And then
Mhm.
that actually becomes a tax write off under your business that you gave
Oh,
these
okay.
things out. So there are a lot of businesses out there who actually, that's where a lot of these grants come from bigger businesses where they're
Yes.
wanting to give funds away or some type of charitable contributions to other businesses that are out there wanting to start up, or you have a lot of millionaires and billionaires and they just want a tax write-off. They
Absolutely.
also do the grants and stuff as well. So there are some, you can actually apply for grants under an LLC as well. There's a lot of grants for businesses that are just getting started, and say whatever your focus is in your business, there are grants that are out there. And as Nakia said, you can search online. One of my things that I love, and this is my bestie. ChatGPT is really good. You can use ChatGPT. They have a free service for ChatGPT. I actually pay, I think, $20 a month for it because I use it for so many different things. But you
Mhm.
can ask ChatGPT to help you with finding grants. It'll do the research
Mm.
for you. And you can also ask ChatGPT to help you write the grant proposal.
Oh, wow.
If you decide to start back up, this is actually a tool I just learned about last year, actually, when I went to a conference for credit repair. It's called CreditCon. I met some really nice people. I learned a lot from there, different tools and stuff that are out there. I will say there are some pros and cons to AI, and ChatGPT is actually one of those pros that I use a lot. I actually use actually this logo you guys see back here for the podcast. ChatGPT
Oh, okay.
created that for me. I literally told it what I wanted, and it pumped out a few different images for me to choose from.
Mhm.
This is the one that I basically went with. So, for you guys that are watching out there and you're trying to get some direction, take notes on what Nakia said, and then use ChatGPT to help you out. If you're getting started and you don't have the funds to hire anybody to write those grants, ChatGPT is a real good tool to be able
Mm.
to help you with that. I've actually used it to help me with a couple of grants that I applied for a different business venture that I'm starting. And the reason I basically did an LLC was because I'm actually providing services. So I just, mine is a profitable business. So the difference between a
Mhm.
nonprofit and a LLC is one, all the monies that come in for the nonprofit goes back into the business to help with more ways of donations or so forth. Whereas mine, it's a profitable business. So the monies that come in, I do invest back in the business, but I'm not required to do that. But I do that in order to for software or whatever it is that I'm doing with the business. And the thing with with a LLC versus a sole proprietor, as I said, is your social security number is tied to it, but also let's just say whatever you're doing in your limited liability company, someone decides they want to sue you. I don't know why they would do that, but let's just say somebody wanted to
Mhm.
sue you. So under an LLC, there's some protection depending on where you registered your business at. So I
Okay.
always tell people when they come to me and they're talking about they want to start a business, I pretty much ask them, okay, what is this business that you're starting and so forth. And then I tell them there are 3 states that you can register your business under because you don't have to register your LLC in the state that you're in, where you're protected. So Nevada, Delaware, and Wyoming are the 3 states where you're protected. So if someone wanted to sue you, your personal information is not listed. All they're
Okay.
going to see is the business. They're not going to see who
Mhm.
owns that business. That information is private. You can register that business and you list your registered agent as the person of contact, right?
Mhm.
Everything basically goes through that. So it protects your personal assets when you form a limited liability company.
Right. It's the same for the nonprofit too. If they
Mhm.
would have
So
somebody would have sued us, they would have been suing Joseph's Heart, not
right,
Nakia.
and not your person, yeah, coming
Mhm.
after your personal stuff.
And we had an EIN too. Yeah, if anybody wanted to do anything, it would go directly against on Joseph's Heart.
Mhm, and not your personal. When you're thinking about what it is that you wanna do, this is not a nonprofit versus LLC. This is just pointing out the differences between the 2. And then another one that pops up a lot is S corp. People are like, "Okay, so what's the difference between an LLC and an S corp?" An S
You're saying
corp,
escort?
yeah.
Okay.
So S and then corp, yeah, S
Oh,
corporation.
S Corp. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Girl, I
So
said
the
escort.
oh, court, oh, yeah, corp would be my abbreviation. Sorry, not enunciating.
Escort services.
Oh, no, we doing it. None of that, none
I
of
know
that.
my mind went there. I'm not an escort. Never have been, but I don't know why I'm like, is she saying escort?
Corp.
Corp. Okay, got it.
So the difference between that and basically an LLC is really, for me, just to sum it up, is taxes, right? With an LLC, it's pretty much passed through. You file with your personal taxes. You can write off certain things, and it's all under your personal taxes, but you get taxed twice. You get
Mm,
self-employment tax and then you get income tax. So a lot
okay.
of people will register, switch from an LLC to an S corp, and what they do is they now become an employee of their business and they get paid as a W-2 employee.
Got
So
it.
now when it comes to tax time, you're not paying for self-employment tax anymore. You're just paying income taxes. So
Okay.
most people will do that for tax purposes. And then if you have multiple people who are part of the business, then everybody just the business taxes get filed separately, but you're no longer being double taxed basically. So that's the tax side to LLC. I feel like with any business that you start, whether it's a nonprofit, LLC, an S corporation, you want to have a team of people.
Mm,
Most people can't afford to have a team up front, but if you can, I highly suggest getting a VA, which is a virtual assistant, somebody who's not actually on your payroll. They're more like a contractor, so to speak, but they can help you with some of those admin costs so that admin tasks so that you can be able to focus on other things because the 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 worst thing that happens to a lot of people is just you get burnt out, right?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
burnout is, oh gosh, it's a horrible thing to be in because it's like
Yeah.
it takes a toll on you and your physicalness, and
Hmm.
then it then affects the business, nonprofit
Right.
or LLC. So I highly recommend if you can't afford like a full-time person or you don't have any family members or so forth that can help you to try and get you a virtual assistant. That actually happened with me with my other business that I started about, was it 2019? On 6 years now, actually this month, that I had that business and like you said, you had the family and stuff helping. So my kids used to help me. And here's a good thing about LLCs, right? If you hire your children, that you can pay them up to a certain amount that you don't actually have
Hmm.
to claim as income as you being their parent, but it actually you get a tax write-off for paying them to be your employee.
Oh, wow.
So there's some benefits to having an LLC. You just need to know, or you need to work with somebody who knows what they're doing when they're filing your taxes, as what you can and can't claim or portions that you can claim. So that was pretty good with me having them. But as they get older, they start doing other things. They don't want to help anymore. They don't care if
Mm.
they know, they just don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened in my case, and it affects the business if they're doing something that they really don't wanna do.
Mhm.
The energy kind of feeds in,
Yeah.
so it's like, "Got it. I'm just gonna do it, like,
Yeah,
right?"
I'll just do it. One thing that was great is that Jordan and Josiah, because we when we took the wheelchairs and stuff like that to the clients, we made sure they were already put together. I'm not going to sit and make these people put this together. They're either seniors or they have some kind of disability. So Jordan and Josiah will put it together for me. I
Oh,
didn't have to. I just would bring them in, tell them what it is. Here, I need it put together, and they come get me. Hey, it's done. Also, what's good is if you need help, kids who are in high school are
mm,
looking to do hours because they need them to graduate. My nephew came and helped because he needed some more hours. He I needed to my inventory was all screwed up. The numbers didn't match what I had. So I needed to, and then I got a huge donation from this company that closed, full of diapers and some other stuff. So that needed to be added in. So we together we were out there, and I was telling him because I had a certain system, and I was trying to explain to him how it was, and then I would tell him, "Hey, I got more of this," and he would write it all down and stuff like that.
the
So it helped
inventory.
me out a lot. And then he stacked everything and tried to put it in the garage. And that was before we. It was either before we no, we had already had our storage, but we didn't have any room with that big old that because I didn't have to pick up those diapers. I was going to, but it was too many. Their van had to come and drop them off to my house
Oh,
because
wow,
it
that's a
was like
nice
20
solution.
something boxes of diapers. And then you can also donate, like we donated to a nursing home. It's really hard to get like boarding cares and stuff like that to take stuff like that now since COVID. Before
Mm,
COVID, it wasn't that hard. But now, so you have to find places and then you got to talk to the head people. Hey, I was like, I have all these diapers. I have too many. I don't have that many clients and they don't wear these sizes. Can you
mhm.
use them? They were more than happy to take them.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
COVID has changed a lot. I will say there was some good things and some bad things that came out of COVID. One thing that I noticed is there was a rise in small businesses being started,
yes, it was.
especially among people of color, which was
Mhm.
really great. But they say the average time that a new business will stay viable is between 2 to 3 years.
See, same.
Um,
That's what happened with us.
yeah, and it's really just it's due to just burnout.
Mm.
So one thing that I will tell you guys, reiterate rather, I should say, is before you even get started, put together your business plan, right?
Mhm.
Put together your mission statement. And most people are like, do I need to have that? And
Yes,
it's not a you don't it's not a requirement, I should say, but it is a necessity.
it's a
Like,
requirement for nonprofits, though.
okay, so requirement for nonprofits that you need to have your business plan,
It's a mission
mission
statement and your vision statement.
mission statement and vision statement.
The mission statement goes to the IRS,
Okay.
so it has to be done. The vision statement, I don't think it does, but it's good to have them both for your website and so people understand what's going on,
Okay.
what you're doing because they want to know where their money is going.
Okay. That is good information to know, you guys. If you're starting a nonprofit, you need to have a mission statement and a vision statement. Your mission statement gets sent to the IRS, and the vision statement is probably more so used for when applying for grants, probably, I
They
would
will actually
assume.
want them both
They
when you
want both?
I think
Okay.
they if you don't give the vision, I think is if you only give the mission, I think Walmart, you only needed to do the mission statement and they were good with that. But and you gotta be real careful with how it's worded because the mission statement that we had on the website was not the one that we sent to IRS. It was for the most part, it was the same. There was just some
Mhm.
extra stuff. It was some extra stuff in the one for the IRS, which allowed us to be able to do more with the
Ah,
organization. If I would have sent them the one I had for that I put on the website, then I would have been put in a box with only the durable medical equipment and whatever I said I was giving to the parents, that would be the only thing I could give them. So
mm,
the way, and then if I wanted to pivot in some ways with the organization and add some more stuff, the mission statement that went to the IRS allowed me that ability to do that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever your mission statement says, make sure you word it in a specific way when it goes to the IRS because that's the only parameters you'll be able to work in.
So it's basically best to, if you're thinking of doing some additional stuff in the future, but you're not doing
Hmm.
that in that current moment, put it in the mission statement is what it sounds like when sending it to the
Right.
IRS. Okay.
Because if you don't, and then you want to do it now, you're going to have to redo the mission statement and send it to the IRS again.
Ah, okay. So you'd have
So
to
you
redo
want to
it.
be able to not have to do much with it because you already have to. Let's face it, board members change. Usually they recommend that you make all your board members reapply every year. And they some may not want to come back as a board member. You may end up bringing in new board members, and they apply like they're applying for a job. You want somebody who's on your board to be passionate about your mission statement. Don't bring anybody in who don't care about what you're doing because it's just going to fail. They're not going to fail, but they're not going to be any good to you or your organization. But the IRS needs to know who are your board members. You make any changes, you have to let the IRS know.
Now, is there a specific what's the process in someone who decided they want to step down? Is there like paperwork that has to be filled out or
No, you want to step. So I just recommend tell your board members, don't text you and tell you I'm stepping down and then leave it at that. Unless they're texting you saying, I want to step down. Can we have a talk? When are you available? It's
Mhm,
different. But don't let
mhm,
anybody just text you or email you telling you, have a conversation because I think and say that up front. If give them what these are my expectations of you.
mhm,
My expectations were really flexible in a lot of things because I understand that people have families. And I'm like, if you need to just step away for a little while, I'm gonna hold your spot. Do what you need to do and then just come back. That
mm.
was mainly because I have mine was a trust factor on letting people come and be a part of that because the organization meant so much to
Was
me.
there too, yeah.
And not everybody was into helping people. So it was really hard. And I did not want any family member. I tried not to have any family members. And I tried to let God guide me on who to bring in. I
Mhm.
didn't want family in because yeah, just think about it. So I just didn't want to do that. Although some of my family was very qualified to do it. But I know the temperament and the personalities of your family members. Do you
Right.
really want them to be the face as a board member of the organization? So you have to
Mm,
go with that. It's so you definitely have to, when it comes to the board members, tell them what your expectations are. They don't have to complete anything to step down. It's always good to have something in writing, but you don't have to if you don't want to. If
mm,
they wanted to step down, they just called me and talked to me about it. And I cared more about because I had personal relationships with all my board members. I cared more about my relationship with them than for them to be on the board because I didn't want, when my treasurer stepped down, we didn't speak for 2 years. Not because I didn't want to speak to her. She was mad at me. I eventually figured out why she was mad at me because she wouldn't tell me. And then I apologized because she felt I was
mhm.
being insensitive to something, but I really wasn't. I was just voicing my concerns that had to do with me and her directly.
Mm,
And she got mad at me and wouldn't speak to me for 2 years. Yeah, it's care if you're bringing people in that you know that you have a good relationship with, value your relationship more than them being a board member and let it do your best to cut ties if they step down amicably so that you can still have a friendship. When my brother-in-law stepped down, I had no problems with it. I didn't want to have to go look for another board member, but I did. But I cared more about him as my brother than
right.
I did for him to be a board member. And I understood. He worked some crazy hours and had a family too, my sister and my nephew. But definitely make them your first board members usually don't apply, but going forward, have them reapply
Mm,
every year.
okay.
Yeah. So it could be them board members, and always have a odd number of board members because you need that tiebreaker when you
That
vote.
tiebreaker vote.
If you got 6 people, you can end up deadlocked. What are we gonna do? Now the president usually can have the final say and just say, but you want it to be fair. We'll try to have an odd number of people. That way, there's always that.
The tiebreaker.
Yeah, and don't bring people on that's a yes man and yeah, I like that. No, I don't like that because you don't like it. No, you want people that's going to challenge you and go back and forth with you because they believe in and they see something you don't see. And that's what
Mm,
I had. My husband, I think I wanted to fire my husband off the board. I think I want to say at least 3 times a month for the whole time we were operating. I'm like, I don't want you to be a vice president. I don't want you on the board no more. I did. I was like, "No, step down. Or either step down or I was firing him off. You're fired." I was like, "You're fired."
I know
But
he was challenging your butt, huh?
oh my gosh, because he's definitely one of those people that if he's something just don't seem right, he's gonna challenge me. No, and this is the reason why. And we would go back and forth, or Lord Jesus.
That's that Aquarius in him.
Girl, I'm like, I want sometimes I just want to wake up in the morning, just want to hit him in the head, but I love him for it though. I definitely love him for it. And they were all like that. All of them were like that. Nakia, I don't see how that's gonna work. Nakia, we can't help everybody, or Nakia, that's not part of what we do. If you
Mhm.
do it for this person, then they're gonna tell somebody, and then that other person's gonna expect it. So I know you don't want to say no, but you have to say no.
I think that's good to have that balance because, yeah, then you be trying to do everything or,
I was trying to help
have
everybody.
this big, yeah, we could do this with some flying elephants and stuff. It's no, we
I
can't.
was trying to help
You better
everybody. I gave somebody detergent. I gave them gift card for groceries. I did. I'm like, because I was just trying. They will come to you with them sob stories, and a lot of them are true, and it plays at your heartstring. But if the organization is not designed for that, then you have to let it
yes, we
be.
know.
With what was at the IRS, we could have done it, but
Mhm.
our main core, that wasn't part of our main thing. And we had to turn people away, people wanting us to help with school clothes. And we did help with some, but we gave a number of people we were going to help, number of families. And one
Mhm.
family had 5 kids. So yeah, and they weren't all young. When they little, it's easier, and they had
Mhm.
teenagers and stuff. But they were grateful to get what they could because they didn't have anything. So we did our best, and that's how I was able to get gift cards from Ross too, which helped take care of those school clothes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Ross would do that.
Girl,
So
it was, oh my gosh, it was, I was just like, oh my
look,
goodness.
we're gonna put some places because I know you mentioned Walmart
Yeah,
as a place.
Walmart, they
What
give
was
up
some
to $5,000.
okay.
Walmart does. And you can apply to as many Walmarts as you want within that time. I think it's 1 year, but I think it's from like February or March to March, like that. Because but you can't, if one approves you or denies you, you can't go back to that same one. But as we know here in the Bay Area, you got all these Walmarts and Sam's Club is part of Walmart too, because I got a grant from Sam's Club too. But you can
Oh,
go to Martinez and do one for Martinez because you're just doing it on your computer.
okay,
But
so you different locations.
yeah, you do it on the computer and you can do different locations. But here's the thing to it. Because so many people are applying, sometimes your stuff can get lost in the what is it, the big bulk of applications. So I had letter, a grant letter, just a letter written up about what we did and that we were needing help and what it was for. And I would
Mhm.
take it to that Walmart because then it
Okay.
would put them, and then I would let them know I filed on and on the website also. And that would trigger them to move faster too. Because
Hmm.
Walmart, the store itself couldn't give it to us 1 year, but the pharmacy in Walmart did.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Mhm. And I didn't even do it, I just did it to Walmart, but I guess the manager, because he had helped us the year before, bumped it to their pharmacy, and the pharmacy gave us $1,500.
So they're like, even though the pharmacy is in there, they have. I'm assuming they
I guess
have
they
their
have a
own
separate budget.
budget.
They're Walmart pharmacy, but I guess they have a separate budget. They had me come in, they had the whole big check thing and standing with the check and take the picture. They had it was on our website and Instagram, but that's since shut down. But yeah, it was nice because I was so appreciative that they were willing to take a chance on us to help people.
Help
And that's
people.
why it's good to have those pictures uploaded on your website of your events and helping people. And always make sure it's in your application. When I gave the application, I would ask, are you okay with me taking your picture and putting it on the website? A lot of the
Mm,
older people was not. You know, them
okay.
seniors, they don't put me on no Facebook. But a lot of the younger ones,
Don't put me on the book of face.
the one lady at our church was called Space Page. She was getting Facebook and MySpace mixed up. And
My space.
yeah, yeah. And you want that, you tell them why though. This is why I'm taking a picture. This is why it's going to be up there. Because as I show them what I'm doing to help people, then that's how we're funded.
Okay.
And that's what you have to do because they'll go directly to that website and start looking.
When you're asking for grants, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's another thing that pretty much sounds like you got your 501c paperwork, right?
Mhm.
You got your mission statement, your vision statement, right? You need to
Your
have
letters of article.
your letters of article, and
And
with
then
us, with
your
LLC, is
bylaws,
articles of formation, your logo,
the logo, the
bylaws, your
your
website.
business card, and everyone doesn't have to have a business card. Phone number, you do not want this going to your personal phone. You don't want to put your personal phone number up there. They have Google numbers that are
Mhm,
free that's attached to your phone. I chose to get a separate cell phone because I have a problem turning work off. And if it's coming to my phone, then I'm going to
mhm.
reply when we're closed,
Yeah, same.
which is why I had it. I would, yep, see,
Got a separate phone.
yep. So I would turn it off. I'm like, we're closed. Turn it off. I made sure everybody knew our hours. I had people still call me at midnight, but the phone is off, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, that's you. Also, don't be afraid to close for you so you can have a break. The first year I didn't do it. And again, like I said, I was burnt out by 6 months in. And
Mm,
I was working a full-time job and being burnt out ain't good. And then trying to keep your nonprofit moving full time, being
mm.
burnt out is not good. And it takes a long time for you to no longer be burnt out when you're trying to get your body back in order. So we would close a week in the summer and we'd be closed 2 weeks for the holidays at the end of the year.
So that's a good note, people. Have some downtime. I will say for my LLC, I have hours, and
Mm,
Nakia said it when I did not have a separate phone. If I saw a text message or if I'm answering or I'm replying, because
mhm.
in my mind I'm like, if I see it and then I don't reply in that moment, then I'm gonna forget
You
about
don't
it.
forget. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but you do definitely get burnt out by trying to always do things all the time. So at some hours or a day, a week, I'm Monday through Saturday. I'm not doing anything on Sunday. So if someone
Mhm.
does call or text me and I so happen to see it, we're closed. Or you can set up automations as well. I know for me when it comes to social media management, because that's a whole other job in
Mhm.
itself. You want to have somebody who can manage your social media. And if you can't pay somebody to manage your social media, there are some automations that are in place that can manage your social
Mm.
media comments and DMs for you. It's called MANY chats. So when people comment certain words or they DM me, I have stuff
Mhm.
set up through that automation that it'll reply to them,
Oh, wow.
or if they're looking for some help, it'll send them the link to like my calendar to set up a
Mhm.
consultation. So that's something that I use. Another thing that I think is really helpful, whether you have a nonprofit or an LLC, is having a good CRM in place. So that's your customer management system, basically, that will manage emails, text messages. It can even, I think it can even like voicemails and so forth. It can manage that as well. It could, and with the emails, it's like it's sending out emails for you. So you can set up an drip email campaign or whatever. So let's just say you are a nonprofit, right? And you have an event
Mhm.
that's coming up and you want to let people know about it. You can set that up in a sequence through your CRM where
Mhm.
it'll build up that until the day of that event, letting them know. So that takes you from having to do it manually. It'll handle that for you. Sending out that email, text message saying, we have this event. It's going to be on this day. This is the time we're going to be doing this. Tell somebody or whatever. You can set that up, and then it can manage your social media as well for you, so you
Mm.
can manage everything from one place. That's something that I came into contact with last year, and when I went to the CreditCon conference, is having a good
Okay.
CRM is definitely important. It takes a load off of you, especially like if you're closed for a week or 2 weeks, that's still going.
Mm.
So manage communication, nurture any new people that comes in, whether it's client leads or people that are looking for help, so that they don't feel like, okay, I've reached out and
Right.
getting back to me type of thing, because you can't do everything. You need to have some systems basically in place, regardless of where you're at on the LLC or nonprofit side. One question I want to ask you, if you could go back, because I know this was near and dear to your heart. You literally started this more so like you've been in the human resources, social worker, taking care of your grandfather. So this was like an automatic thing for you, nonprofit. So if you could go back, would you choose the same structure?
Structure of the nonprofit? Yes, but I'll probably ugh, yes and no. I would make sure that I would have people in place to help me. There are people who volunteer who love to volunteer and do things. I think I would have probably I ran everything from my house. All my computer, everything was set up at home. So if I needed somebody to come and do admin stuff, they would or come help with my inventory, they would have had to come in my house, and that was an issue for me. I would have probably tried to go because they have some nonprofits that will allow you to either rent a space or just give you a space to sit at to do
Mm,
work. So I probably would have went that route. Everything the way Joseph's heart was set up to and how it was designed, I would absolutely not change a thing. I would still help the same demographic of people because they are the ones that are least seen. Our seniors have been here for in this country for a lot of them they're born in the United States, but they're treated horribly. And a lot of them are getting Social Security and it's only like $1,200 a month. And they're supposed to
mm,
live off that. And you tell them to buy diapers too? Or they're
right.
getting 2,000 a month and they just missed that cutoff to get Medi-Cal. So you want them to get rent, food, toiletries, all that, and buy diapers too. And diapers are not cheap. And some of them are not computer savvy, so they're not going to Amazon and ordering or going to McKesson and ordering in bulk. They can't do that because they don't know how. And please don't assume that they have family members to help them
That's not
because
right.
they don't always do. So I would absolutely be there. My grandfather was fortunate because he was in the union the entire time he worked here in because he was from Louisiana. When he came to California and he started working construction, he was in union all the way up to until he retired. My grandfather, other than his name, couldn't read or write. And so my grandmother handled all his paperwork. And I think my grandfather brought in $3,400 a month, retired. Because so he had his retirement and he had his pension. There's a lot of people who are his age didn't get that. And he got that all the way up to my grandpa retired in 1990. He lived to 2021.
Mm,
So, he had that the entire time, and he had some increases and stuff like that with Social Security, and so not everybody is fortunate to have that amount, and we know that today sometimes that seems a little low, but for the seniors,
that's a
that's
lot.
high, and I have to understand that I know that not everybody had what he had, and we still, as a family, bought his diapers and stuff when because he didn't start wearing them probably until the last maybe 5 months, 3 to 5 months of his life. But I wouldn't change it. I did it because of my love to help, of helping people. I did it because I wanted to honor my grandfather because of the way he helped me and my husband when we struggled and he did stuff and didn't ask for money back. So I wanted to make sure that I was that for people and I would not change that. I definitely wouldn't ask my kids to help no more. Wouldn't ask my kids to help. I wouldn't. And I would have been a little bit more clear when I was asking people to be on the board of directors, what my
Mm,
expectations were of them. And then I would have, and this is a big one, when you're giving things away, do not let people text you what they need. And I was doing it for a long time. So I ended up saying, okay, we're going to stop this. This is what you're going to do. You're going to go on the website, go to this page. You're going to put in what you need.
mm,
And if
strong.
it's a dire need, you need to let me know. And this is the turnaround time for it. So everything started filtering through that. I would have done that in the beginning because it wasn't like I didn't have the emails I did. We did have an issue with the contact page for a little while, but once it was up and running, and then I would have done that instead of
Mhm,
having people call me or text me because I'm quick to write something down on a piece of paper and then now I'm looking for it. But if it's
right.
an email, it's there. And please, if you have people sending you emails, check your spam because after a while, stuff started going in my spam and I would just go in and look and say nobody's request for nothing. And then I'd get a phone call maybe
Mm,
a week or so later saying, hey, I sent an email. I'm like, "You did?" "Yeah, 2 weeks ago." "No, I
yeah.
didn't see it." Went in my spam, was like 3 there. So you wanna make sure that but I wouldn't change. Other than the stuff I said, I wouldn't change it. I loved even though I was burnt out, I loved what I was doing. If I could have kept it, I would have, but I just could no number my health was the reason I closed it, but doing it, I could no longer operate without the help. I
So
just
that's a key factor here, people, is if you don't take anything else away from this, is you need a team. You
yeah.
and it needs to be people who are share a passion for what it is you're trying to do, whether it's your nonprofit or it's your LLC. You want to have somebody who shares the same sentiment as you, because then that means that they're going to put in the effort in the same amount of, maybe not the same amount, you might put in more, but
Yeah, but they'll put some.
they'll help take some of that off of your plate.
The last thing I want to say is also, it's okay if some of your clients are your family members. I didn't feel right helping people outside the helping people that was not in my family and my
Mhm.
grandmother, because I still had a living grandmother. It was my paternal grandmother. So Joseph was my maternal grandfather. And father's mom was still alive. She was 101 when she passed last year, but she needed some things. Like took her diapers, I took her Insure, because she wouldn't eat sometimes. And then I got her a fidget thing because she had dementia and she would pick at furniture, pick at her hair. So I got her something to pick at that
Mhm.
would also help her to remember how to button things, how to zip things, and
Mm.
mess. So my aunt took a picture of it and sent it to me. And it really helped because she stopped picking at other stuff. So it's okay to help family. They still got to go through that. You still got to do the applications. You still got to do all of that because you want to have
Wanna
paper
hold
trail of who you helped,
Yeah.
but it's okay to help family. Just make sure they really need help and that they're not just not coming to you because they know you got stuff. Because some people do that. I didn't have that issue, but some people did it.
Some
Some
people
people
do.
do it.
Would you agree here that whatever it is that somebody wants to do, choose your structure, whether it's nonprofit, LLC, based on your mission, not
Yes.
just the money?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think I could do LLC. I just know that about me. With nonprofit, you definitely can't be going into it for the money. Even though there are some nonprofits where the CEOs are making six figures. They just are. But when you're starting up, don't look at it money wise,
Mhm,
because then you'll probably end within the first year because you're thinking, I'm gonna get this grant, I'm gonna be able to be paid. No, that doesn't always happen. Don't look at it for the money. Look at what is it that you want to do because that's how you stick to it also. If
mhm,
this is a passion, whether it's LLC or nonprofit, if this is something you really want to do, then you're going to stick with it regardless of what you're getting
mhm,
paid. So for
mhm.
me, I couldn't quit my job to do it. I needed an income, but I still wanted to do the nonprofit. And I think even for us being open 3 years, we still did very well for to only have been 3 years. Don't do either one for the money. Do it
Yeah.
because you have a passion for something.
I totally agree with that on both aspects. Because even with the profit, like this is my living. I don't have a 9 to 5, but I don't do what I do because of the money. Like I got
Right.
into what I'm doing because I wanted to help people, more so educate people. Because
Mhm.
when I was younger, I didn't have anybody to explain to me the importance of credit. I didn't
Mm,
have to explain to me as far as taxes. So I paid someone else to do my taxes, and I trusted that they were doing what was right. In the What I found out was they was just charging me a bunch of fees, and they were just doing the basic. They weren't going
wow.
above and beyond to ask me certain probing questions to make sure that I was getting every possible deduction and credit that was available to me. They just
Mhm.
did the basics. So I got into doing taxes because I started to learn all the different things that are out there, and tax laws change. They do not
Right.
stay the same. There's typically every few years there's a new
Mhm.
tax law, but as of lately since COVID, it seems like there's been a new tax law every year. I just
Gosh.
stayed on top of what was available and what was out there so that when I'm helping people, I'm looking at everything. And I have a background in accounting, so numbers
Mm.
is always my thing and wanting to make sure that I'm looking for every possible deduction and credit to lower your taxable income, because that's pretty much what taxes is about, so that any taxes that you pay throughout the year, you're now able to get that back in a refund. And as I'm looking
Mhm.
for additional deductions and credits, now it's going to boost your refund that you're going to get back. And then when it came to credit, I messed my credit up soon as freshman in college, right? Because I
Mm.
never had anybody to tell me the importance of credit, how to build it, how to maintain it, and so forth. So I got into that because I wanted to be able to educate people, more so younger people. I went and I
Mhm.
spoke at a high school because I didn't have anybody like I said, to tell me at that young age, because you think no one's thinking about credit when you're 18, 19.
Right.
You're thinking about everything that you want to buy, that you
Mhm.
want to own, and not realizing that credit, like cash is king. You need cash to purchase things, but credit is power. You're able to access and leverage so much more when your credit is right. Getting into these things was because that's what I wanted to do and I wanted to help people. And of course,
Mhm.
because this is my income, I don't have another income. That's what led me to the structure of an LLC because this is what
Okay.
sustains me basically. So I would still do the same thing in wanting to help people and educate them, but I would, in my case, choose the same structure. If I had a 9 to 5, I was doing it. I probably would I was dang near a nonprofit when I did have a 9 to 5 because I was charging like $20 to do people's
Okay.
taxes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, after a while, once you move into, okay, this is now my bread and butter, of course, the fees
Right.
change, but I still provide the same information and service as far as advice and educating people. I
Mhm.
also give people information on the home buying process because I went through it. So a lot of the stuff that I've gone through and I've learned, I'm like so quick to give that information to other people, resources and so forth to help them because we gotta stick together. Whether,
Yeah.
we giving stuff away, nonprofit, we're doing LLC providing a service, but giving additional stuff, like, we have to look out for one another, just the other communities, they look out for their people, and I feel like
Mhm.
it's important when it comes to our community because one thing that I noticed the most is that majority of us, they for self, they gatekeep, they
Yep.
don't want other people to do what it is that they're doing or surpass them, get ahead.
Yep.
And I think that's what hinders us as a people of color because there's
Yeah.
competition, there's jealousy, there's envy, and there's so much stuff out here for everybody if we
Mhm.
stick together with looking out for our seniors, looking out for the children, looking out for the people in the middle. I feel like we can get so much done and accomplished and ahead
Right.
together
Exactly.
as people because I feel like that's what the others they do. They look out for each other and that's why a lot of them are successful in doing what it is that they're doing because
Right.
they helped each other out, especially within the family.
We need
Uh,
to do better. We definitely need to do better.
we do.
My sister wants to do a cookbook, family cookbook, but I have a cousin who refuses to share her recipes. Girl, you can call her and ask her, "Hey, I want what you made was really good. Can you give me the recipe?" She'll either ignore you. That's usually what she does, is ignore you. But yeah, so unfortunately, my grandmother died when I was 16, and all her recipes died with her. And she was before she medically retired, she was a cook, so she could cook really well. But when she died, she was 63. Everything that she did, as far as in the kitchen, went with her because
Mm,
nothing was written down.
that was written down.
And
Yeah,
so
that
we,
sounds like my
yeah,
grandma too. She had
and
two recipes. I think that was written
mm,
down.
yeah, we don't want. My sister said, I don't want to sell it, but I want to be able to pass it down to the kids. And getting my cousin to give up any recipes is gonna be like pulling teeth with no anesthesia.
Oh gosh. Oh, I'll keep that in my prayer. Trayvon, I remember Trayvon reached out to me and he had asked, Mom, he's like, what's your recipe for your mac and cheese? And I was like, I don't have one. He's like, what? And he was somewhere, he was trying to make it basically. I said, I
Mhm.
could walk you through what I do, but I don't have anything written down. I was like, well, maybe I
Right.
should write down some stuff. I cook by taste and smell
Mhm.
to certain things. So in all honesty, now that I think about it, I feel like that's how my grandmother pretty much cooked majority of her stuff. She wrote
Yeah, my
down
grandma did too. Yeah.
I have that, but I don't eat gumbo, and she put it in a book actually. So I definitely understand wanting to put stuff and pass it down. And I just feel like anything that you do, it's not going to benefit you when you're not here. So
Absolutely. That's because and I believe that when God blesses us, we're supposed to be a blessing to others, whether it
Mhm,
be because you're very well at cooking, whether you have a business, whether whatever it may be, he gives us a blessing to be a blessing to others, which is why
mhm,
when I have the income to do it, I believe in giving back out because there's somebody on the street around the corner who don't have this. You want to help other people. You want to be there for people. You want to share what you know.
mhm,
Being able to share the information you have is that's almost like liquid gold because it's gold.
mhm,
Because how many of us got bad credit? How many of us don't excuse me, don't know how to file taxes, or we're going to H&R Block, who's probably you just it's just so
yeah,
much. We want to be able to be a blessing to others, and our community needs to learn to stick together. Same with grants. If you have a nonprofit and you know about a grant and you know someone else with a nonprofit, share that with them. Trust
mhm,
me, there's enough money to pass around.
Mm.
Just because
There
they
there's
applying don't mean you're not
money
gonna get it.
for everybody.
Yes, it's enough
There
money. You don't have to hoard the information. Share
Mhm.
it.
And by being a blessing to someone else, don't do it because you're looking for something in return, but God will then bless you in some other type of way, just
Right.
because you're just being kind and you're passing that information on. And I feel like in everything that we do, it's for the next generation,
Mhm.
honestly. So when I'm doing certain things, I'm not looking at it as it's benefiting me. I'm looking at it as benefiting the next generation. So
Yeah, because if they gotta run this country while we seniors,
right.
girl,
We
leave.
I'll be like, Lord, please, I need to still be in my I need to still be in my same
Can't
mind
see you no more.
because oh, am I not on here anymore?
Mm-mm.
Oh. I'm like, I need to be, can you still hear me though?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. I'm like, Lord, please let me still be in my same mind and all of that good
Yes.
stuff because if I got it, my stuff got to be left in the hands of my children, Lord Jesus, or the just the next generation. Help us, please.
I was like, "Oh my goodness." And that's a
Help
good thing
us,
with
please.
your LLC, you can pass it down to your kids if you chose to do it. With
Yes.
nonprofit, you technically can't do that because it's an entity that stands on its own, but if they were voted to be they were hired to be the director and take your place or voted in as president of the board, they could be. But taking it
Mm.
over, no.
Okay, okay. So that's another good thing to know, like when choosing your structure as well. If it's something that you want to be able to pass down, an LLC is an automatic thing. You just got to put it in either your will. I would suggest having a trust account set up for any and everything that you do that you actually own and put it in your trust. You're able to pass it down with a nonprofit. You can make a suggestion that you would want your child or children to take over, and of course, there still would have to be a vote on whether that would have to be done or not. Do you have any final takeaways?
No, I would say this. I learned about LLC because I really didn't know much about them.
Hey,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you.
Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you. I learned we both learned something today because you hear about nonprofits, but you really don't understand all that goes into getting it started and actually keeping it running. So I thank you for joining us today, breaking down why you got started, how everything should be set up, and then we'll if the program is still in effect, the one that actually helps you, I'll make sure that their information is linked in the description for anybody who wants to get started with a 501c. You can reach out to them to help you. And I'll actually do some research and see if there's some other people out there that are helping individuals with getting their 501c done as well. Until then, I want to thank you for sitting with us and having a seat with us at the table today. May your week be blessed and your heart be full and your purpose be unstoppable. Until next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, and thank you so much for joining us at Table for Us. Guys, have a good one.
Sometimes we don't.
Hi, I'm Nicolette Royal, and I am the owner of NRO Company. So that is Nicolette Royal Original Company. That is what that stands for, NRO Company for short. And it is a print business. And I actually started this business. It's actually, oh my goodness, it's about to be 6 years that I started this business. I started this business with a dream. My grandmother used to teach me how to sew when I was little, and I went to a sewing class one time. My best friend had invited me to a sewing class at her, she's in the mosque, and they were having a class, and she invited me to come. And I had forgot how to sew, but in that class, what were we doing? We were working on a tote bag, and I was so amazed by the hands-on and everything, but it was almost like riding a bike, that everything that I remember my grandmother taught me just came flooding back in. So my children bought me this cute little, oh gosh, I don't have it here, but it was this cute little sewing machine. I named her Tabitha. And I just started using that and was like, I'm going to start making tote bags. I'm going to sell these tote bags. And eventually I got a bigger sewing machine, a working horse sewing machine. And what happened? The pandemic happened. So my shift from making tote bags shifted to actually making face masks. And I made a lot of money during that time. And then I ended up getting a cry cut machine. And that cry cut machine allowed me to customize these face masks. I would have a lot of people, once things start opening up, those face masks started becoming party favors for different people. And then I started doing t-shirts, and most of the t-shirts that I would do would be custom orders. So I would have people saying, hey, can you, because a lot of people started their own business, so they would say, hey, can you put my business logo on this shirt, or so forth. So I would do a lot of those, or I would have people coming to me and they would have parties and they wanted something special on the shirt. Or it might have been, I started doing bonnets, which actually that took me so much time, because I would actually hand make the bonnets, go get the fabric, cut it out, sew it, do all that good stuff, and then put whatever the person wanted on there. But it was so time consuming that I just couldn't do it anymore. My children used to help me initially with a lot of things, but as they start getting older, they started getting busy with their own things. So I had to figure out a way to keep my print business going without burning myself out. So I ended up meeting or running across this young lady's page named Bougie Barbie on Instagram. She's actually, I believe she's retiring from digital products coming up soon. But I was able to get a couple of her courses and learn how to do print on demand. And basically what that was, I would sit there and design. So I used to go to Academy of Art College. So designing things and arts and all that was always a thing of mine. It was never something I wanted to go into full time, but it was just a gift that I had. So I started designing different things using Canva. And then through her, she introduced me to Printify. So I would then take my designs, put them on shirts, hoodies, bags, or whatever. And then I created an Etsy store. So all of my products are on Etsy. I will have my Etsy shop linked below, and you can purchase whatever you want to purchase from my Etsy shop. Or if you're interested in starting your own print on demand business, I do have an ebook, and I will list my Stand Store link at the bottom so that you can be able to start your own print on demand business. It's very easy to do. And if you're not that creative with designs, there's all this AI technology out there. If you have an idea in your head and you just don't know how to actually put it into a design, you can tell AI and it'll do it for you. So I am Nicolette Royal, owner of NRO Company. You can reach me at 702-969-3605. You can text the word print and I'll send you the link, or you can go to my Etsy store. You can also follow me on Instagram at NRO Company. So thank you guys.
But that don't make a difference. Hey, hey, if we are here, but that don't make a difference. Hey.